Okay, I'm here live on Instagram to talk a little bit about the animals and their Akashic Records. And some of you may already know that I work with animals. Some of you may not know that I work with animals because I do a lot of stuff. But the animals, I've actually been working with them since I started offering readings, but I sometimes took a break from it to focus on other things, and now I am feeling that they are asking to be put in the spotlight again. And I'm hearing this from other psychics that I'm talking to that are also animal communicators. And what a lot of people ask is, oh, is it the same process? Is it the same psychic process? And it is completely the same. It's even easier, I find, to connect to animals than it is to people. And you're going to see as I go through some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about and some of the questions that you may have, you're going to see that the soul contracts can be very similar that you have perhaps with a human family member. There is really not that much of a difference. We perceive a big difference because animals obviously don't speak. They don't use words like we do. And so that creates a barrier immediately. So you cannot have a conversation with your cat, your dog, your tortoise, or whatever you have the way that you can with a friend. But the thing is, there used to be a time where this was possible, where people were not yet relying solely on the spoken word, where you could have conversations that happened with body language, where you had conversations that just happened purely based on energy, such as in Atlantis or Lemuria, for instance, where animal telepathy was a very normal and accepted part of life. It was just something that was accepted, the way that now we are starting to become aware in the collective of these supernatural abilities that animals have, and we see this because they are starting to train them to warn their owners, for example, if they're going to have an epilepsy attack or something else for health reasons. They are starting to see the value, the psychic abilities that these pets have. And we see this in the medical field, that people are training dogs like this, medical people. So the collective is opening up to these abilities. So I definitely want to answer your questions. So if you can stay on here for a bit, I'm gonna share my story, kind of how I rolled into animal communication, because most of you will know me through some kind of other work that you may have done with me, or other types of videos or articles that you know that I have written, or videos that I've done. But let me tell you my story, and after that I would love to answer your questions. So in 2013, I got my first dog. And I've had dogs. Of course, growing up I had dogs. And with my dad, who trains dogs for the military. He used to, anyway. And so I used to be afraid of dogs. That's the funny thing, because I got bit by my grandma's dog when I was really little. And I see now that this was also because there was an entire miscommunication going on. Body language is not being understood properly. There was also no respect of the boundaries of the dog. All kinds of stuff that I now see, of course. But it led me to this point where I needed to really dive, to basically get over the fear of the dogs. I had to understand them completely. So my dad took me to the shelter and said, you're gonna walk from this side of this aisle, this hallway, all the way to the other side. And I was paralyzed. I'm completely paralyzed at that point. And I walk, and all these dogs are there, and I'm just panicking in my head, of course. one dog jumps against the fence, and I get startled and I look, and that would be later would be our dog. We adopted that dog, and that was my first kind of introduction to animal communication as a child. But of course I was not aware of the fact that I was communicating with him, but I could instantly feel a very calming energy coming from him, where he was telling me, you don't have to be afraid, because I understand. Because this was a dog that was abused. He was scared. And I remember when we came home, he sat underneath the table with me together. We sat under the table because he was afraid. He was afraid of being exposed in the open, so he sat under the table. Anyway, so I grew up then with dogs. We got another dog. I got used to dogs. Then I said, I need to have a dog of my own. This was in 2013, and I got a corgi. And everyone's saying, yeah, a corgi's not a beginner dog. I said, it's gonna be a corgi. And this dog turned out to be a soul contract that I had orchestrated together with him for him to come and open up my animal communication abilities, basically. So this dog went through a whole bunch of trauma with me. I was in an abusive marriage, in a very toxic situation. I had my daughter, and there was a very specific soul contract between my dog and my daughter for them to really support each other, and it was a very specific connection that they had. And then there was a time where I basically had to leave the country, and it was all happening very quickly. I didn't really have time to prepare much stuff. And what happened then is my dog was always with me. He was constantly with me, and I couldn't take him with me. And at that point, we were already completely telepathically communicating, to the point where people would joke and say, if like the dog wanted something, they would look at me like, what does he want? And I'm like, I don't know. And they said, well, you talk to him. What does he want? Because I would know. He would look at me and I would know. So I could feel from him coming the energy of, I don't agree with this. I don't want to be without you, but I had no choice. So I left the country. I moved back to Belgium, and I could feel over miles and miles or kilometers of distance. I could feel that he was very anxious, not doing good. He was temporarily staying with a friend, but she then had to find somebody else for him. And I was going through this entire process of grief. It felt like this was not the way it was supposed to be. I now see that this was an entire part of the animal communication process that I was going through. And so this other person that he ended up with, I was in contact with this person, asking how is he doing? Is he okay? She kept messaging me and saying he's doing great, he's fine. And I felt that he was not fine. I had dreams. I had very vivid dreams where he would come and tell me that he was not fine. I saw him acting out in my third eye. I saw him just misbehaving. So I said, like, I could feel it in my body that this was not fine. So I messaged her and I insisted, are you sure that he is fine? Because something's telling me he's not fine. And so this lady is then like, well, he's actually not fine. He's been misbehaving. He's been miserable. He does not like it here. And this was very out of character for him, because this was a dog that was well behaved, that was good with people, that loved, like, he was doing these things to clearly make it known that he was not happy. This was not the way that it was supposed to be. So eventually we did manage to get him on an airplane and get him brought over to my house where I was living at the time in Belgium. And the first thing he did when he ran into the living room was, I opened the bedroom door to my daughter, who was still in her bed, and she knew he was coming. So she was 4, I think, or 4 at the time. So I opened the door, he jumps on her bed, and he vomits. He throws up on the bed because he was just so... It was all this energy that had to come out because he was back where he was supposed to be. And so that's when I knew, okay, there is way more between a dog in my case, but this could be a cat, it can be any kind of animal, a horse, any kind of animal. There's more going on between our pets and us that we are aware of. And I also started then really diving in to what he was wanting to show me. So he was also showing me the galactic blueprint of a lot of the animal species, like where do the cats come from, where do the dogs come from, all kinds of stuff, and how a lot of the things that we are going through in this lifetime with our cats, with our dogs, they are direct repetitions or contracts that we have made in other lifetimes, in other galactic experiences. And a lot of cats, for example, they have lived Lyran lifetimes. So when I say galactic blueprint, and now I'm kind of getting off topic, but the galactic blueprint is the highest form of that specific animal that exists in creation. And in the case of a cat, it is this full humanoid feline version. And in the case of a dog, it is this full canine wolf type of humanoid version. And these versions of them are still very much communicating with their animal forms that are existing here. And so this is what I started seeing when I started doing Akashic Records readings for the humans, for people. And I would spontaneously see their pets with them, because I would see, okay, who is with you in these lifetimes? And for a lot of people, I saw how they have known their pets in so many ancient lifetimes that are not necessarily limited to planet Earth. And so our cats and dogs, they are here to come and assist this mission, is what they're doing. And I have a little list here of specifics when it comes to cats and dogs. But yeah, they are very, very involved in the planet's ascension process because they have lived with us directly as these advanced beings. So, for example, I just did a session with somebody and she was this Lyran humanoid person in Lyra. And the cats that are now her pets were also these humanoid Lyrans, and they were all living together as one family. And sometimes, for specific reasons, because the universe is one big math formula, what happens is that the woman then decides, okay, I'm going to be the one that's going to be doing most of this mission work, and the cats are coming in to do a lot of supportive work to support the mission. And for dogs, they often come in to help you lift heavy trauma, to work through heavy traumatic things. So that's often the case with both of them. And sometimes they will have behaviors that make no sense. And that's also why I chose to work with the Animal Akashic Records, why I use the word Animal Akashic Records rather than animal communication or animal readings. Because a lot of the time their behaviors are not just linked to stuff that energetically is taking place in this lifetime. It very often goes all the way back to other incarnations that you have had together, where they may have been a cat, a dog, or they may have been another type of species. You may have been the same species as them in specific lifetimes. And I know that Dolores Cannon says, for instance, that she believes, based on her findings with the clients that she has worked with in hypnosis sessions, that animal souls and human souls generally don't mix like what I'm trying to say is that if somebody is a human, they were not an animal, or an animal has never been a human, that the animals will strictly live animal lives and the humans will live human lifetimes, and this just never made sense to me. And it has not lined up ever with what I've seen in the Akashic Records. Often the pets have these very high frequency forms, like how we have our higher selves, and we are all part of the same oversoul family. We are all connected and we're all different puzzle pieces. And what it comes down to is the communication. The lack of communication is now making us view them as less than us, when in reality they are extremely developed psychically. So there is a whole lot of stuff that I can get into, and I'm first going to look at some of the questions because I think some of you have already said some stuff. So let me see. Caitlin said, "It's so true. I feel so telepathically connected to my dog." Yes, because they can hear anything you're saying out loud, especially when you say their name. They are going to be hearing it. And if you're thinking anything you are thinking, they will know. And without judgment, they are going to tune into your heart. They're not going to be tuning into your head, what you're thinking. They're going to know how you're feeling. And a lot of animals, this has been filmed, by the way. People have filmed this, that they will change their whole behavior. If you have a job and you leave work, they don't change the behavior the moment that you decide to actually get in the car and leave, or the moment that they hear the car coming down the street, which would be a logical explanation. No, they immediately shift their entire behavior the moment that you think about going home. The moment that you think about them, the moment that you make this heart connection, they are immediately realizing, oh, you are coming back. And this has been proven by people that have filmed it, that have looked at their clock, and they don't necessarily come home at the same times either, or they don't leave work at the same times. So this, for example, proves that there is such a high level of telepathy going on between people and their pets. And my example, for instance, you do not have to be close to each other because my dog was on the other side of the world. And Brandy said, animals are much more open to telepathic communication than humans are. Yes, because that is how all these animal species are communicating with each other. Have you ever seen birds that are flying all synchronistically? They're not talking, they're kind of talking, I guess, but they know when it's time to turn, when it's time to do something in group. They are tuning into this cloud of telepathy, is what it feels like. So any questions that you have right now about any type of animal that you're curious about, like anything you would like advice with, you can ask it right now. This is the moment to ask. So what else was I going to say? For instance, there's a lot of people that also have pets that don't even realize that they have this special connection with them, that they are helping them with a very specific part of their mission. And in my case, with my dog, it was very clear that he was in my life for that very specific decade where I was going through what was going to be the biggest initiation of my life, where I was going through a whole spiritual awakening and also breaking free from this entire karmic contract with my ex-husband that has been spiraling for lifetime after lifetime, and now basically needed to be fully finalized. So this dog came in right when I was going to be going through the biggest traumatic experience of my life. Then my daughter was born because this dog was doing so much grounding for us and shielding. And it is because of this dog that I actually decided to leave. because it was seeing how he was treating the dog is what something changed in my brain. It was like when you are in an abusive relationship, you're kind of compartmentalizing and not realizing how abusive it actually is, and because you are just desensitized to the abuse. And then what happened was I saw him yanking the dog by the leash, by the neck, and pulling him down the stairs and kicking him. And then he said, I'm gonna shoot this dog in the desert. And my daughter's watching, seeing this whole thing happen. And it's then that something in my mind just went, I need to get out of here. And like, yeah. And I, in that moment, realized too, because I was in the middle of this whole telepathy, that happened specifically so that I would see the truth of this whole marriage that I was in and that I had to get out of there, which is what happened. So, yes, so these animals are coming in for a very specific reason, and they are also choosing to leave us when that part of the mission is done. But there is good news, because your pets have a returning contract. They come back. They are your soul family. And because they have shorter lifespans, they will come back multiple times. I've seen this so many times for so many clients, that the same dog, the same cat comes back like 3-4 times in one person's lifetime. And they will recognize the same animal. The people will say they will do the same specific things that this other cat or dog did, and it was so weird that you would just not expect it, and they did that specific weird thing, so I know that it is them. So yeah, let me see if there are more questions. Can you do readings on pets who have already passed on? Yes, because I'm actually doing that tomorrow, and I have done that in person too. One that I'm doing tomorrow is an in-person session. I usually do them online. I can do them in person. I have done this for when I was living in Spain. I lived in Spain for a couple of years. I lived on a farm, and there were a few bigger like herding dogs, and one of the big dogs was dying, was doing not good at all. He was basically about to transition, and a farm owner who was not at all typical Spaniard, not, oh, you do this weird psychic stuff. And I'm like, haha, yes. And it was all like, we're all laughing about it, was all good. But then the dog passed away, and he came to me and said, could you talk to him? Could you talk to him for me? So I had his collar and I started tuning into him, and he was showing me all these things. And that's the thing, the animals are very visual. Their telepathy works in very visual ways, but that does not mean if your third eye, if you are not somebody that easily sees things, they will immediately just send you their emotions to the heart. They will send you images, but they will also work with your heart, and you will just know things, and you will know that it is them. You will feel it. So I'm seeing all these images from the dog, the stuff he wants me to tell the farm owner, and showing me things, of course, that I couldn't know, like how he behaved when he was a puppy. But the one thing that animals that have passed away want you to know, and this is like gonna sound cliche, but it is the one thing, the first thing that they always say is, you don't have to feel guilty. You did the best you could. Do not feel guilty. I love you, and I know that I was loved by you. And that is the first thing that they want their owner to know. They're okay. Their life was good. Do not feel guilty. That is the first thing that they want you to know. So, yeah. And that goes for cats, dogs, any animal. Basically, they're not going to hold on to this guilt that we have sometimes about, oh, we were not present enough with them. We neglected them. when they were with us, we were not spending time with them, and then we'll feel really bad about that when they're gone. These animals want us to know that there will be a chance to make it up. They can come back, and then with another like new awareness, you can be more present in that connection. Because often the first time you have a lifetime with a specific animal soul in this lifetime, it is to awaken you to this telepathy. And then they're going to come back, and then you will have a whole new way of connecting with them. And some animals choose to stay in spirit for a while. You work with them as a spirit guide. And I have some stuff written down about that. But let me see if there are more questions. Somebody says, I have a very special animal. He is my service animal, and we go everywhere together. Yes, I have something about that too. Like right now, so many animals are coming in as emotional support animals, as service animals, and there is a very specific soul contract that is taking place when two souls find each other like that. The human and the specific service animal, because they are fully telepathically connected and communicating in ways that they're not even aware of. And this often goes back to many, many other lifetimes where they have been together in one way or another. They have so many interesting lifetimes where they have assisted each other. And for a lot of people, this even goes back to war lifetimes where there was battle, there was trauma, and they had to really rely on each other. In other galaxies too, like galactic wars, we had so many different species that were working together. We had these lion species, like the felines, we have all kinds of species that were side by side working together. So they have come back basically to do the same here, but right now they are smaller and they are our pets. Well, often, like a horse, for example. I know a few people who do horse therapy, and it's the same thing. There's a very specific soul contract that is always already determined before they meet each other again in this lifetime. What kind of connection do cats, pet cats, have with Lyran cat humanoid beings? I have a cat that came to my life in such a magical way. He has taught me so much on unconditional love and much else. Yes. So a lot of the time, I have a very good friend of mine, and she has a cat, and he was actually her brother in a Lyran lifetime. So she was a Lyran woman, feline, Lyran, humanoid woman, and the cat was a humanoid feline man. So they were siblings. And that's how I saw them, and they were brother and sister. And now he came back in, and there was this instant recognition. She said, I know you. So that's also, like I said earlier, where I disagree with Dolores Cannon, that she says, yeah, animal souls and human souls, they don't, they stay in their own lane. I don't believe that, because I've seen too many times that that's not the case. And then the reading that I did a couple days ago, where I saw the woman that was the Lyran woman, and she was like I shared an image of it in my story, and I think I may share another image next week, like a very beautiful white feline woman walking upright like a panther, but all white fur, walking upright like a human, with a bunch of small little cubs, like little kittens basically with her. And they were back basically as cats. But it gets layered and interesting because two of them are now her cats, And they are not only guiding her, healing her, recalibrating her energy and all kinds of stuff, they are also here as guides for potential spirit babies that are waiting in the field for this woman to come in physically, basically. And then they are going to return and be spirit guides for the children. So there is like this whole web of soul connections between us, our pets, our children. The same thing with my daughter. There was this clear connection with my dog that he was supposed to be this guardian for my daughter when she was a baby. So that became very clear, and I'm going to start to share more videos about this too, with her permission. I'm going to ask her first, and I'm pretty sure it'll be fine, where you can see that she's hand feeding him. And he would not let anyone, like, he was food obsessed. Like, yeah, he would eat anything constantly, just always starving. He's a corgi, he was just always starving, and she could go in his bowl, feed him, he would carefully take it out of her hand. These animals, they know exactly who they're dealing with on a soul level. When you have children, with you, the people in your life, they are not looking at what am I seeing, they're looking at what energy am I seeing? Do I recognize you? Who are you in my soul family? What is our work together? So that is what an animal will see. Okay. So let me see. Oops. Oh. It's comforting to hear animals come back to us several times during our lifetime. I can't imagine my life without this wonderful being. Yes, and that's definitely something that is very comforting for me. And Ryan and I, we don't have pets right now because we're traveling and stuff. But I started doing this animal communication, well, the readings, when I had my dog. And then I had a cat in Spain, which was also a very crazy story, because then I lived on that farm for a while that I just mentioned. Then I moved into a house in Spain for a year and a half. 4 weeks before I was planning to move back to Belgium and leave Spain, this tiny kitten is meowing in the olive trees where I was on my walk. This little kitten follows me all the way back to the main road, and I'm like, you cannot come, this is dangerous, I don't know where you have to go, where's your house? And it just looks at me, and it knew exactly where it needed to go, and it just followed me. It's like, oh no, I need to go with you. So it helped me through this transitional phase of leaving Spain behind, which was kind of a grieving process for me. It was right when I had separated with the partner that I was with in Spain. I then decided to go back to Belgium for a while. And so this cat helped me to really release a lot of the stuff that I needed to leave behind in Spain, basically. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, they will come back. And I know that specific cat is going to come back. Ryan has a cat that he has some really special experiences with that we have already received. This cat will be coming back pretty soon. This cat is probably going to be coming back very soon. And that my dog is already in line waiting to also come back. So yeah, let me see. Please save this so I can share with friends. Yes, I am going to have the replay of this on Instagram, on YouTube, and about pet loss. Friends struggling with pet loss. This is a question that I get frequently. People ask me, what about when they are dying or they have a terminal illness, and bringing them to the vet to assist in ending their life or letting it happen naturally? What are the karmic repercussions of doing something like that? I've done readings for people that were struggling with this. Like, I don't know what to do. I cannot watch how they're suffering, how they're just everyday suffering, but I also feel, what if I make this decision for them and then I basically am responsible for killing them? Like, how can I live with a decision like this? So I've done readings for animals that have specifically said, and it is very individual. It's going to depend from case to case. Okay, is this supposed to happen? Is this not supposed to happen? And for some animals, they do specifically tell me right away when I tune in, it is okay. Tell them that it is okay. Tell them that they can let me go. Tell them that they can take me to the vet, that it is fine, because this is something also that they've agreed upon in their soul contract with you. And they will very clearly come through with a message like that. So, and they will have preferences. They will definitely let you know. And often this also happens for you as a catalyst to tune into more animal awareness, awareness of interspecies communication. This is for a lot of people the beginning of their animal communication journey. So, yeah. He brings so much joy to everyone in our meets and greet. People ask me if they can pet him. I am part of the feline and dragons too. Yes, a lot of animals. That's why I love them, because the dragons are so connected to the animals. They are working with the earth. They are working with the angelic realm, basically just like the dragons. The animals are very connected to the earth and the celestial realms simultaneously. So, let me see. Yeah, and dogs, definitely. You work with dragons? Yes, so the main thing I do is basically working with the dragons. But the dragon, and that's going to be for maybe... Well, I have a whole playlist. I have a playlist on YouTube. It's titled Dragon Lessons. But there are definitely a lot of dragons that are working with the animals. And a lot of our animals are also specific incarnations of these dragons, that they have come in the form of animals right now, because they can't be these gigantic dragons, but that they will have like the dragon energy. And so you will definitely notice that if you have a dragon dog or dragon cat, you can tell they have this fire in them. So yes. Now I'm going to go to my notes because there's some good stuff here. So the similarities, and it's going to be mainly today I'm talking about dogs and cats, but I've done readings for cows. I've done readings for birds, tortoises, and yeah, animals are not always necessarily the same in every incarnation. There are certain dogs that then will come back as a cat. They'll come back as something else or something else. And it all depends on the part of the mission that you are at. Or not necessarily the same dog breed. Like my dog was a corgi, and he always behaved like a bigger dog. He behaved like a big dog, and he has shown me how next time he's going to come back as another dog breed, as a bigger dog. So the similarities that I have found between cats and dogs is that they are celestial guardians for our awakening. And for the planet's awakening, they are this bridge for us to see how easy it is to connect without words, to have this connection. And you'll often see that there are very rational people that are like, I don't want to hear about your spiritual stuff, but they will have this super telepathic connection with their dog or cat. And they're like, oh yeah, this is how we talk. Yeah, you're having a whole psychic connection right now. So that is for some people kind of the gateway into thinking and being like, oh wait, if I can have this connection with an animal, maybe there's some other stuff I need to look into. Our animals will also always arrive at the perfect time, and you don't necessarily need to be looking for them. So if you have had a pet that passed away, You sometimes can feel like, oh my God, they are gone forever. I am never going to see them again. They are gone. And you can be spiritual. You can be open to this, but when that does happen, it is suddenly real and they have left their bodies. You can have this feeling of deep grief and despair, and people say, oh, it's just a pet. No, it is. You're feeling the soul connection. You are feeling a member of your soul family that has passed on. That is what you are tuning into. But the thing is, they are going to come back at exactly the perfect divine timing where your souls have decided to make a new contract in the future. And often it'll happen in a way that you're not expecting it. So, because I was so determined to have a girl dog, I was gonna get a girl dog, and I come home with the biggest boy dog in the whole litter, because he was literally the biggest puppy of them all, and he just pushed all of the others out of the way and sat down in front of me, and he just looked at me like, hey, I'm here, I've been waiting. So you will recognize them. Trust in yourself that you will recognize them when they come back, because you will. And if you don't immediately recognize them, trust that they will do whatever they can to get your attention. They're not gonna let you not recognize them. So there are all these soul contracts that are predetermined between you and the animals that are gonna become a big part of your life, or the animals that were a big part of your life that are now no longer with you. And so these contracts are between all the members of the family. And some may be karmic. Like with my son's father, for instance, my dog did not like him at all. But it was a very karmic situation where I was also supposed to see that. I was supposed to see that that was not a good relationship. So they act as healers and they ground in extra energy. They force you to be fully in the now moment. So you'll notice sometimes with dogs more than with cats, you can have a lot of stuff going on mentally. You have a lot of stuff on your mind, and your dog suddenly chews on something. They destroy something in your home. They bite the furniture. And you're like, this is the most terrible timing for you to be doing this. Why are you doing this? They are showing you you are out of balance. You're too much in your head. You're not in your body right now. I am forcing you to be here, to be in your body. So a lot of the misbehaviors, a lot of the behavioral issues, anxiety, stuff like that is a direct mirror for dogs to the owner and where they are at in their mind. So, and a lot of the animal readings are often end up being readings for the people. And they are doing this to come bring you back in the now. And cats are specifically, they're healers. They are healing technology. And I have some stuff written down about this. Let me see. Cats act as living healing instruments and realign our energy fields. And their bodies are positioned very intentionally. When they are on your head, they are doing stuff directly to your crown chakra. If a cat is on your chest, they are directly working with your heart chakra. If a cat is by your feet, they are directly working with grounding in your energy. What else? Cats purr at about 26 hertz, which basically is a healing frequency. They are healing inflammation in your body. They can detect imbalances in your energy field up to 48 hours before they take place. And this has been proven scientifically. I don't know what doctor or what person proved it, but this is true. And cats and dogs too, they absorb negative energy and transmute it, and that's sometimes why they can become ill, because they feel like they have to do all this work, but they are also in these tiny bodies right now that are not equipped like the big feline bodies that they once had to do all this energy work. So that's why it is so important for us to know how to communicate with these animals so that we can tell them, hey, I know you're here to do all this work with me, but take it easy. Do not put too much strain on your little cat or dog body. So that's the thing. A lot of physical imbalances in our animals now are the result not of bad food, not of environmental things. They can, of course, help to make your animal healthier, but a lot of it is purely energetic because we have detached and severed this line of communication that was so natural between humanity and animals. Let me see. When a cat rubs against you, they are recalibrating your energy field. They are not just marking their territory like people say. They are actively recalibrating your energy field with their vibration. That's what they're doing. And so, yeah, cats broadcast a frequency of healing and unconditional love. That is what they do. And dogs are the same, but they are more about grounding, guarding, and just loving and helping you through traumatic experiences. Cats are more about helping you with frequency work, and the dogs are here to really kind of help ground in a lot of the stuff, help you burn through traumatic stuff that you may be working with. Or just, it doesn't mean that you have to be in a whole traumatic experience, like what I mentioned in the beginning, my traumatic marriage. But they can just, for a child, for instance, that is very sensitive, and they go to school, and they come back from school, and them just like 10 minutes of petting the dog, this dog is then taking on, willingly, some of the energies that the child brought back home from school, and then the dog is gonna go run outside, do all kinds of crazy stuff, and the dog is going to know how to transmute this excess energy, and the child is going to feel way better. And this is a contract that they made, that they may not be aware. The dog's aware of it. The child may not be aware of it, but the child is going to feel the effects energetically and emotionally. So, yeah. What else? So, dogs, of course, they can also predict events and detect diseases or changes in your body. Like dogs that can sniff out tumors, or dogs that can predict epilepsy when it happens, stuff like that, or for post-traumatic stress. And that is definitely, I speak from first-hand experience, my dog helped me so much with the PTSD. They can sense it when you're about to have a PTSD flare-up, and they know exactly what to do. Cats will do the same. The cats are going to be doing the healing work, and the dogs are going to be really helping you with this blanket of unconditional love. And if you have cats and dogs, you will notice that they have a different energy, and so you never have a cat or a dog like by coincidence. They don't just roll into your life coincidentally. There's always a soul contract that you made with this animal. So they can also cleanse your homes, but let me get into that in a little bit. Rooster, my dog, helps many people who just lost their dogs. Yes, so there are specific animals that can even act as spiritual midwives. Dogs, cats that see spirits and that will go and comfort the people that were left behind, or that act as like basically bridges in between these two species and the two dimensions, the physical realm and the non-physical. And there are dogs sometimes in one family where the one dog acts kind of as the bridge for the other dog. And there is a specific case that I'm now thinking about of somebody I just did a dog session with, and they have a second dog, and the second dog came into the family unplanned and is a whole support system basically for the first dog. And the first dog took on this very big soul contract to support the person that I was working with in their spiritual work, and so the second dog is here as like a backup battery. And I don't mean that that's like the only purpose that this dog has. That's not true, of course. But that is a very important part that these dogs do. They love being in service. Dogs enjoy being in service to your soul mission. And they enjoy it very much when we see the work that they are doing. So just recognizing that they are doing important energy work for you can already shift so much behavioral issues and stuff. Because that's what they're trying to tell you. Hey, I'm doing all this for you. I'm doing all this for you. And you're not seeing it, or you're not wanting to work with me, is a lot of the time what happens, because we live in a society where we're so detached from anything that we cannot see, hear, or feel. So that's kind of why I'm so passionate about raising awareness when it comes to the animal-human connection that we don't necessarily see. So let me see. My dog has dental issues. Could I be causing it, or only cats? I'm not sure what that means, or only cats, but the dog and the dental issues, a lot of the time, it could have to do with energy that they are purging that isn't necessarily theirs, that has to do with the throat. So it could be connected to stuff that is being unspoken on your end, and they are helping to kind of process a lot of that. So it's sometimes very easy if they have like a problem with their paws, for instance, like my dog had itchy paws constantly. He had itchy paws, allergic reactions. I would change his food. Nothing worked. He still kept having the itchy paws, stuff like that. It's like stuff is out of your hands. That's how it was for me. Like my life was out of my hands. I felt like I did not have control. I could not control my life. And my dog was showing me with his paws that there was like a imbalance energetically. And so with the mouth, the throat, stuff like that, it often has to do with something that they are unable to process. And by simply recognizing this and just asking yourself, where is it maybe that there is energy in my mouth or throat that is stagnant, that is not being circulated? So that is just a good question to ask yourself. And let me see if there's anything else. So yeah, they can clear energies in your house. And that's what my dog definitely did too. Cats are also very good at that. And dogs definitely love to do that. They are constantly, you'll see that they have specific spots in the house. It is often because that's where energy gathers that they are then kind of grounding in. They have a direct connection with the planet where they will ground stuff in. And if you have one of these dogs that loves just being on the floor, that you have a nice bed for them, and they don't sleep in this bed. This was an expensive bed. You bought it. It was like a really fancy bed, and then they're not in this bed. Because I had a dog, my dog would not go in this bed. He was just on the floor. And he would just be on the floor directly. It is because energetically they're choosing to do this because they're doing all this energy work. So, yeah. Anything else? Dogs function as living antennas, and they're often responding to like earthquakes, planetary events. They can sense these things. So what you can also do, they are these living antennas, is when you meditate, you can take them into meditation with you. And cats are naturally going to do this. Cats are meditating 18 hours a day. When they sleep, they're often just naturally in these other dimensions, they're meditating. And it is definitely very valuable to invite your pets into your meditation space. So if you have not experimented with that, I would definitely try it out. And the first time that I did this with my dog was in 2017. And I was just meditating, and I saw him as this big wolf that was telling me all these things about setting boundaries, about basically that I had to get out of this marriage that I was in. And I I came out of the meditation, and he's right by my feet with his eyes closed. And he was not there when I started the meditation. So it's by calling upon them, you can call upon them, and they will hear you. And so this is some general advice that I can also give you. And when I do sessions with people, I will get specific advice, so more personalized from the dog or cat or other animal, specifically for their connection. But a lot of the times, when there is stuff like separation anxiety, or there is an issue, an aggression issue, a food issue, issues with other animals, issues with specific people in the family, that you can have conversations with them. You can address them mentally by having, or out loud, just having the conversation and asking, show me in a way that works for you how I can help you with this. What is it that you want me to see? And just being open to what it is that they want to show you. Cats are very visual, like I said. They love to show you images. I had a cat, the cat in Spain would show me an empty food bowl. So I would, in my third eye, be shown this empty food bowl and like, oh, you're here to fill up my food, yay. And dogs can do the same thing, but it's gonna be more sound-based sometimes, or just knowledge. You're just gonna feel them in your field. They will just immediately, like dogs will be like, I'm here, and that is very much how they are psychically too, if you are open to it. And I think a lot of pet owners imagine that they are getting the telepathic communication, they're receiving it, they're thinking, oh, this is in my head, I'm crazy, my dog is not talking to me, I'm imagining this. No, your dog is talking to you, your cat is talking to you. So these things are real, and the more that you lean into it, the clearer it becomes. And it's going to be a specific energetic signature that you're just going to start to recognize. And by playing around with it, it's going to become more clear. And that's just kind of how I developed it. And I did eventually do a course on animal communication, but it was basically, it's kind of the stuff that I told you now today in this call. It's a lot of it is trusting your intuition and trusting that you know your animal. So yes, I think that's kind of it. I've been talking for about an hour now. I would suggest that if you have specific questions for your animal that I was not really able to answer in this general guidance today, the video, that was kind of, you can try all this stuff, please try all this. And if you feel like, hey, I need some personal advice because I have this personal stuff that I may need somebody's help with. When I do a session with you, the goal is not that I'm going to be this middleman, like blah, blah, blah. This is what they're saying. That is, of course, what I do. But the goal is to open the door so that you can then continue the conversation with them on your own without needing my help. I'm going to give you the tools, the most important things that they want you to know, the most important answers to the issues that are arising with them. I always give you clearing statements to work with. What are the clearing statements? Some people already have worked with them before. Some people know about them. I basically work with the golden dragons, the seraphim, and together with the higher self of your pet, we channel clearing statements. And an example could be if you have a dog that has separation anxiety. It could be something like golden dragons, anywhere where, let's call him Max, anywhere where Max thinks that I am abandoning him when I am not in the same room with him, please clear, release, delete, and transmute this feeling across all time, dimension, space, and reality, and replace this with full confidence and peace whenever I am not in the same room. So it's like affirmations, but of course your cat and dog, they're not going to be able to repeat these affirmations for themselves. You are going to be doing this for them. And by you doing this, you are opening the door to their energy field, and you're basically returning the healing. You are returning the healing that they have been giving you. You are doing the same for them. And it's this acknowledgement that I mentioned in the beginning of you seeing what they're doing, seeing where there are the imbalances, and being able to kind of work with that and recalibrate their energy, just like they are recalibrating your energy. So I always create those on top of the call that we do. You get those the next day so that you can work with them for a month. You can work with your dog. I give you tools and advice and tips on how they want to communicate with you, because of course every animal is different and they're going to have specific things that they like. Some cats have very specific things that they enjoy, and they're going to let you know. Some dogs have very specific things that they enjoy, and it's going to have connections to the Akashic Records, to the shared past lifetimes. Like, there was a person that I did a session with a while ago, and the dog was afraid of fireworks, or there was like loud noises and stuff, and a lot of dogs have that, of course. And it went back to a lifetime where this dog, who is now a small terrier, was a hunting dog. So this was a hunting dog, and the dog did not want to be in this environment in this lifetime. But just like a lot of humans in like the 18th century, you did not really have a say in what your job description was. So this dog had to do the job, didn't like the loud noises, and so that kind of came back in this lifetime. So it's stuff like that. We can sometimes find the answer to the problems that are occurring in this lifetime in something that happened in a whole other lifetime. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see, I'm just kind of looking through the comments before we wrap it up, but Instagram is very annoying with the scrolling. Can I get an animal reading with you even if I don't have any issues with my pet? Is it beneficial to know about our soul contract and such? My advice would be feel within and tune into your pet right now and ask them. With your body, you're always going to feel your intuition physically. Because if we try to feel intuition in our heads, then we're going to be processing it in the mental, with the brain. And it's going to be in our bodies that we're going to feel the answer. So if you have a dog or a cat, and even if there's no problems, there's no behavioral issues, no health issues, you can just kind of tune in and see, okay, would you like me to know more about our soul contract? Would that be beneficial? And kind of feel? If you don't really feel anything, it's like, okay, it's here. I know it's there. And if you feel, yes. And you don't have to know why, because it may be something that's going to come up in a session. It may be something that is then going to be the catalyst for you to develop new aspects of your spiritual journey that your animal may already be aware of, but that you may not yet be aware of. So that would be my advice. My session with Deborah this week was awesome. I am so grateful. Yes, it was really awesome. And yeah, I just love doing these. I love doing the animal sessions. So yeah, I think I covered it all, kind of. So if you want a part 2, maybe I should do these regularly, the animal lives. Definitely go take a look on my website, because the sessions are 33% off right now, because I want to do more of them. I want people to get to know these sessions, because I've done so much work with people, but I've been getting this from the dragons. It has been the dragons that have been coming through and saying, we need to connect the animals with their humans on a deeper level, because they are these guardians for the planet that are here doing so much work with their people that the people are not aware of. So down the line, I may also do a course on this if I would have enough people interested in animal communication as a course, whether that's a video course or a live, like 1 night or 2 night webinar. I'm not ready. I don't really know anyway, whatever. I'm just now thinking out loud. If you have any suggestions on that, feel free to put it in the comments. So, yeah, I am going to leave you guys for now. Have a great rest of your weekend or day whenever you are watching this, maybe on replay. And so any questions, put them in the comments. Any suggestions about whether I should do a course on this, if you want your own session for whatever animal you have. It can be a pig, it can be a bunny. Animal souls are all very similar to read, and the contracts are always kind of similar. Check out the website where you can find the Animal Akashic Records, and I will be back soon with more videos. Bye bye, and thank you for joining and for asking all your great questions. Bye bye.